Howdy everyone, this is Mike. We're in Townsend today at the Railroad Museum. That is a Shea narrow gauge train engine. The Dorothy that operated here back in the lumbering days before the National Park was founded. Colonel W.B. Townsend owned a very large lumber company up here in what's now kind of the quiet side of the Smokies. Was actually an industrial town. And this is one of the narrow gauge railroad trains that ran up into the Smoky Mountains. Along the road beds that are there today were originally narrow gauge railroad beds. And this train would go up to Elkmont and go up to Tremont and places beyond to carry lumber out of the mountains. Pretty cool. Doing a walking tour here today. We'll try to take part of the walking tour. That water tower, now I filmed Rick Turner's, he does a really great presentation on all the lumbering that went on up here. And I have a 4-part series on the channel on that. I believe that water tower was from Walland. But they do a great job of preserving some of the equipment that was actually used. See, they have one of the steam engines. That engine was used usually to cut wood up in the mountains. That's how they did it originally. They tried floating the logs down the river for a while, but ultimately they found out that using the narrow gauge steam engines was the best way to carry significant amounts of lumber out of the mountains. There's a great little museum here, and there's the museum. There's an interior there that shows a lot of great things from that history. And Townsend was an industrial town for quite a while. It was a big lumber mill kind of off in the direction here. And we're going to go on a walking tour. Should be interesting. How old is this engine?
This one's 1907.
1907?
18 years old this year.
Now they used these originally, if I'm thinking right, to run sawmills back in the hills back in the day. This is how they originally started doing lumbering here. They would have these little steam engines. They found this was better than floating the logs down the river. If you actually took little engines like this, and there would be a saw blade there, and you would cut the lumber in the mountains and then bring it down. And later, when Colonel Townsend came in, they industrialized things quite a bit more, and that's when the narrow gauge railroad came in. This is cool piece of history that they have this, over 100 years old. Still working. This is the Shea engine. This was 2147, and it actually did work on the Little River Lumber Company Railroad here. A little walkway here. You can go up and Up here with my fearless walking stick. This is the interior of Dorothy, the locomotive that's here, where the engineer and the shovelman would be hard at work. Now, these Shea engines did not go very fast. In fact, you could probably outwalk one. But they could carry a heavy load.
This is our traveling display. We have a big one.
Some arts and crafts here today. They have some fudge, some woodwork. It's a little chilly this morning. It's in the 40s. And here's the village smithy, hard at work. Some nice iron craft things there. More crafts down this way, and another model railroad.
And here was Wallen, and Mr. Fisher had the tannery, and he knew Colonel Townsend and asked him to come. You know, there was good land here, so this was the tannery. If you know where the Wallen Center is, it sits right here. So this big there, that way. This is our train wreck wall. Yeah,
You got ropes or something out there now.
and you know, he was a very he salvaged what parts he could if he couldn't get the train back on the track. And when I went to school up there, we had out on the bridge where we stayed would be the water pond. So the bridge,
I tell you, it's been a long time since I've been in this museum, and they have really made a lot of improvements here since the early days when they first started. This map is really what the national park is today. You could tell it was all lumber holdings from a variety of companies. Little River Lumber Company was the largest. That was the modest settlement of Gatlinburg up there. And much of the Tennessee side of the national park was owned by Little River.
Eight or 10 years ago, and W.B. Townsend's great-grandson found it in his mother's belongings, and he gave it to us. It's a panoramic picture of the complex as it was here around 1915-16. So it was taken by a stationary camera that would, I didn't know they had these things, but they say you would